Off I go. Chasing the moon.
It's funny, the temperature up in the north, it varies so drastically, so quickly. Just a few days ago, it's like I could have my bare hands on the handle grips of the quad. And then same as this morning. But I don't drive around the quad too much. I use it to get all down these long cut lines to get to where I'm going, and then I hike. And I try to stay at least, I don't know, maybe 1,500 yards away from where I want to go hunt. And I shut the quad off, and then I hike there in the dark and do what I do. But then today, it's just instant. The temperature just starts to sink, and you can feel it through your legs. You feel it through everything. It's like, holy cow, here it comes. And it's coming. There's a bit of a storm warning right now. It's gonna barf snow soon, which is fine. And I don't have any stories to share today. So, just a bit of a bullshit session, though, instead. Word has it, one of the remote highways that I can get home through sounds like it may be open by Sunday. So that's good. And a whole pile of people have reached out to me to offer me a place to stay. That is so kind. I appreciate it so much. And what else? Last night I was listening to Dave Paulides' channel. And he's reading a bunch of letters, emails he gets, and there's a very sour, miserable, angry at being alive human, not even a human, is this dude being. Emailed him, and he wanted to verbally hurt him so bad. It was just so cringe. You know, you always try to urge Dave to ignore all the bullshit. You always encourage everyone to ignore the bullshit, right? And it turns out this same piece of dirt had emailed me in the past too, attacking Sarah, attacking me, just on the attack. And I just ignored it. But after hearing what he wrote to Dave, I couldn't help myself. I replied to the guy last night, but I shared with him an honest story, which I'm going to share with all of you. And it may help you possibly deal with it when you come across these evil, sad cases. When I was a kid, there's a kid in our neighborhood, angry, miserable prick, and he never stopped being a prick. It seems the older we got, the worse he got. Butted heads with him all through childhood, as did many other people. And he was just the angry, evil, angry dude, bully. Just issues coming out of his yin-yang, right? And this went on into adulthood. You just see him and go and shake your head like, oh God. You just want to avoid the guy like the plague. And let's put it this way. At that time, he's the type of person that if I seen him in the street and a bus is coming to hit him, I just turn around and look the other way and wait for the bus to mow him over, all right? That gets it across clear enough. But here's the kicker. So, years later, oh, man, that's itchy. So years later, I guess he got married, had a kid, and it turns out that he was being molested, sexually abused, molested all through his childhood by a grown adult male. And when I heard that, it kind of makes you take a step back and go, oh, shit. And ever since that time, Every time I see someone just lashing out, being absolutely verbally violent, angry, filthy, I instantly assume that they were molested all through their childhood. And but it just goes to show that when you come across these people, it's very, very hard not to want to end them. But when you realize that there's always a reason. There's always a reason behind everything, right? So I decided to pass that story on to you guys for when you all come across people just frickin' lashing out, trying to be evil as they can, as dark as they can. Just remember, something real, real bad happened to them. More than likely. And that's something I want to share. And I also shared that story with the guy. But I made it a little more colorful, unfortunately, to antagonize him in a little bit of a way. I probably should have toned it down a little bit, but I kind of somewhat sort of wanted to go for the jugular at the same time, and I probably sort of maybe did a bit, but whatever. And to contain his cancer, I blocked him. So that's enough of that. End of that story. But just remember that when there's evil people, dark sons of bitches out there, something real dark's happened to them. You almost guarantee it for them to be out delivering that to the world, right? What else can I share? I've been up. Here's my program for the day. So I get up 5 o'clock, have a coffee, I start layering up. It's a tiny little store. I go down there, grab a couple little breakfast sandwiches, and I get my snacks for the day, stuff in my backpack, jump in the truck, drink my coffee, drive my 45 minutes, park, and I got my quad stashed in the forest, so I don't have to take it in and out of the truck every day. Flash the quad up, and then I do my 45 minute quad bash down these old cut lines, right? I learn the area, I hike in, I hike. Look at the sign. I had 3 trail cameras with me. I've been setting them out and leaving them at various places where I'm trying to suspect this big old buck is working it. And every single time I set the cameras, I got bucks on it. And I'm having a lot of fun, but it's a lot of effort too. And so today it was 11 o'clock. It was a full moon all night. You can see that. Hopefully I opened up this video with that video on the front of this one. And it's basically full moon, bright lights all night long. And that typically makes it a horrendous day to go hunting in the next day, because theoretically they've been up all night doing their partying all night, chasing does around, eating, and you don't see nothing next day, right? So I hunted this one area thoroughly, properly, saw 2 young fawns, and then I hiked back into this cut line. And basically wondering what I should do the rest of the day. I thought I'd go check a trail camera. I'm checking the trail camera, there's nothing on. I got an SD card reader that plugs in the phone. And all of a sudden I can hear the winds going through these trees, and heard a raven. But then all of a sudden I could have swore I heard a deer grunt. It kind of sounds like a, maybe a little lower, something like that, right? But it was really loud in the distance. I wasn't sure what I heard. And as I look down the cut line. Here comes a doe, slowly walks across the cut line. I'm like, oh, it was a buck I heard, no doubt. So I got my gun up, and there's a big tree falling over top of the middle of the poplar falling across the cut line. And then here it comes, and it's echoing in this frozen forest. And I'll tell you what, if you did not know that deer grunted, this probably would have scared the shit out of you, because it was like, I got a piece of gum in my mouth. It was like a that repetitive, and he didn't stop, and it's getting louder and louder and louder, and you're just like, oh my god, what's coming? A red stag from New Zealand? And then all of a sudden I see here he comes, his racks. You can just see his rack coming through the pine trees, fallen tree. I'm like, oh shit, oh no, it's a monster. And I flick the safety off, and I'm picking a hole about that big through the tree, And I'm aiming on the cut line, I'm waiting, and he goes and steps through. And I shot through the tree, and I shot the tree. I clipped the branch of the tree. It's kind of hard to take after all this effort, you know. It is what it is. And then, of course, it takes you a couple seconds to start walking up there to see if there might have been any blood or anything. And he starts doing it again, 20 yards away from me. And I got to stand there and listen to his groan echoing as he carries on with the doe. And I could swear I could hear him doing it for at least 200 yards. Just walking along. Into that thick willow jungle. Nothing I could do about it. It's fun. It's frustrating. That really sucked. So I tried to go after him and circle around, but it was so thick he couldn't even see 10 yards. It's just too thick. There's no way I'd get on him. And I finally gave it up. And while I was doing that, I created a sweat and I got wet. I'm like, oh no, now I'm wet. I'm screwed. So went back, set up the camera again, and then dragged my sorry ass all the way back to the truck. Turned it on. I was debating leaving, and then had some snacks, and then was listening to the radio, and the weather report came on, issued an extreme weather warning for this area. Blizzards, heavy dump of snow, and I'm like, oh, there's a storm coming. I got to get back out there right now because it's typically that creates a lot of activity, wildlife. So I changed up my first layer into a dry one, sat in the truck for a while, got heated up, got all layered up again. I got pocket warmers in my boots, got pocket warmers in my pockets. And now I just got to go up this cut line another, I don't know, 1,000 yards. And I'm going to park and I'm going to continue on until it gets dark. I'm going to keep this I'm going to keep this ball rolling. So there you go. That's all I got. But just remember, you guys, when you come across, and that's part of the reason why I rarely read the comment section below is because of I can have a weakness for the angry people who lash out. You've probably seen me in the past. All I do is I'll pin their comment and let everybody have at them. And then later on, I'm like, why did I even bother? Why do we even go in the comment section? You know, because I can't help myself. I guess I'm not a tough guy by any means, but I am a natural born fighter without a doubt. And it's tough for me to walk away and not fight back. So I just don't look at the comment section. I let the dark people be dark on their own, and I try not to allow them to include me. And I would hope to pass that on to all of you. All right? There's a whole pile. There's more good in the world than there isn't. And we gotta learn to focus on the good at all times, right? Ignore those dark people. They will cause cancer. They cause cancer and they perish early. That's what they do. So you just got to let them have at it and carry on. So anyway, it's getting on. I got a hike to do. I got to get going and see if I can salvage the rest of my day here. What a day. Take care, everybody. I'll get some shares tomorrow. So here's my update. Might as well tack it on. I hiked my way down that cut line, and I had been there for 5 seconds. In that great big buck I was hoping to have a meeting with, he was in the other end of it. He had his nose to his ground, weaving all over the place. I got my grunt tube out and I let rip on the grunt tube, and he looked up. Here he comes, like prancing. I'm like, holy cow, it's gonna happen. Cool. I'll be lying if I sit and say my heart wasn't thumping. And then he's weaving along, coming along down the line. And all of a sudden he stops dead, starts sniffing out the ground, looks into the forest, and jumps over and in and gone. So I guess there was already a girl there. Of course. And a couple more does came out behind him. They crossed into the same patch of jungle he went into, so I opted to walk away. Now that storm, they called for an extreme storm warning, substantial snowfall, and it's coming. It's here right now, so here I go. I'm gonna get pelted with snow for the next 45 minutes or so. And that's the end of my day. I did have another video loading all night long on the other phone with some shares on it. I don't know why it didn't load. I guess I'll find out once I get back. But we'll see what happens. See you guys shortly. There we go. Looks like I made it out once again. I don't know if I'm taking a gamble leaving my quad in the bush right here or not. I guess I'll find out in the morning. See you guys later.